Hey world, it's your girl Nina Love. Thanks for being here. This past weekend I spent in Maryland, about 45 minutes north of Baltimore, where my BFF and her family hosted a birthday bash, a birthday weekend for me. I just turned 43 on August 4th. Happy birthday to me. My cousin Mahel flew in from Hawaii and we just had a great time over the weekend. It's one for the record books. I had a really good time. While we were there, I asked my BFF if she would sit in front of the camera and talk a little bit about her life, some of the experiences she's had and things that she's gone through that has shaped her and made her who she is today. One of the things I do want to highlight is that she does talk about her battle with cancer, but not her own battle, but having to watch her 3-year-old son be diagnosed and be treated for cancer. I'm happy to say he is healthy and as energetic as he ever was today. And he's made it through. She just completed a first draft of a children's book that she worked on throughout the process, from the diagnosis to ringing that bell at the end of treatment and the all clear sign. She wrote the book as she was experiencing it. So she just completed the first draft and hopefully we'll get it released soon. One of the things she talked about in our conversations when she was going through this was that there was just no literature. So anyway, she's raw, she's real, she's very vulnerable in front of the camera in a way that very few people are. So tune in. I would love to hear your comments. I'm sure I will in my inbox. And have a great week, everybody. See you next week. Talking. It's your girl, Nina Love. I'm here, but I'm behind the camera today. And I'm interviewing my best friend because she made a big fuss for me over the weekend for my birthday. And I was excited to interview her today.
That works.
Okay.
Keeps it clean. Kids, whatever. Life. Friendship.
So you want it clean?
No, I can do dirty. Girl, I can do dirty. I can do mediocre. I mean, what you want to do?
Okay, let's talk. When you think,
because even if you talk about Mish and then you was all about possible fight before it started. I was gonna lick Mish in the counselor's office, and I was gonna lick you if you was gonna get slick out your mouth. So yeah, we don't want that whole that whole persona following me.
All her. It had nothing to do with us. It was all her perception of us.
Yeah, we don't want to touch on that. Violent tendencies.
Okay.
Just
look like you're talking in the mirror. That's what I try.
I don't talk to myself.
You should talk to yourself.
But I know I tell myself every morning that I'm beautiful.
Yes, good job.
My friend taught me that when I wasn't so beautiful. She told me to tell myself every morning when I woke up that I was beautiful. And then eventually I started to believe it. In fact, I didn't even think twice about it.
Don't scratch.
Okay. Growing up, everyone always told me how beautiful I was. And I hated it. It made me so uncomfortable in my own skin. I would just say thank you, but inside I would just die. I hated it. I would avoid it. And for other reasons that I won't get into, of course. But I didn't own the beauty. It was bad things came to me with being beautiful. It was nothing ever great behind that word. It was something that someone wanted from me for one reason or another. So even when my best friends would put that label on me, oh, you're the pretty one, you're the this one, you're that, it wasn't a good feeling. You would think that it would be, but I never wanted that title. I wanted people to know me, who I was and what I represented. But they saw this first. As I've gotten older, and like I said, Nina and I used to always talk about faking it till you make it. And I thought it was stupid at first. And eventually, I tried it. I felt stupid at first in the mirror, and every morning I'd wake up, I'd be like, you're beautiful. Today you're this, you're that. She was always positive, and it used to sometimes irk me. I kind of wanted to just shut her down because reality of life wasn't that happy and wasn't that blissful. But she really is that person. I was a half empty half cup empty person, and she was always overfloweth for days. Still. But I mean, like I said, over the years, that practice has brought me into who I am. And I feel like I could not love myself more and could not accept and embrace my own beauty in every way, shape, or form more than today. I feel 100% today.
31 or whatever.
I was 31 when I met my husband, who was a little younger than I was. He had no children. I had been a single mom since I was 20 years old. And with that struggle of being a single mom, I was very protective. I was used to doing things my way and only my way. I didn't have to get the input of a man of how I should raise my child or how I should do anything. So when my husband came along, I was in unfamiliar territory in sharing my parental responsibilities with him. And I don't think that I ever really did. I think I kept it for myself, the discipline, the talks, the meetings with school, anything that had to do with my son, I did. I didn't even question him as to whether he had any input. I don't think it really crossed my mind that it would matter. That was my child. But in today's world, a lot of people are blending families, and it's really hard. And I get it now that we're all older. My son is now a grown man. And I look back and I think he has this respect for my husband, but they don't have a bond that I wish that they had. And I think that might be partially my fault, because I prevented my husband from having any say-so or any input into my boy's life. And my biggest concern was that he couldn't father him fairly from a good, pure part of his heart. He could say that, but I feel like men tend to look at things differently, like that's not his natural born child. And I don't know if they're like women who can love, because I feel like I could actually love someone else's child and be fair, because my heart, I love being a mom, and it's so important. And because I had an evil step monster, I definitely never, ever would do to a child what she did to me. But for men, it's different. Anything from a woman's past or anything that didn't involve him, sometimes a hard pill to swallow. Your past, your history follows you. And so being afraid of that, and knowing that if something happened that I didn't agree with, would end the relationship. Because my children, I've always said, were my number one priority. And if that meant sacrificing my life and my happiness with a companion, that's what will be done. Because my children was my first responsibility, not my happiness, or at least that's how I looked at it at the time. So that being said, it was a struggle. It was always like a fine line not to cross, because my husband felt like he had no control and no say-so. My son felt like he still had one up because I didn't allow him to discipline him. And I was always in the middle. I hated being in the middle, because I would explain to my husband, well, and then I'd talk to my son, well, you have to understand. So it was a horrible place to be in. And I think back now that it's the single mom syndrome. Like, you go so long having to be the responsible party, the mom, the dad, the caring, loving, affectionate, and then coming to the aggressive discipline. And it's like, I didn't know how to let go of that control. I felt like if I did, everything would spiral out of control. And I was so determined to beat the statistic of being a single mom and not having a child that could accomplish things in life because of the dysfunction of not having a man present. But overall, I wish that I had done things a little differently and given my husband some leeway or some participation into the rearing of my oldest boy. I think he would have had a lot to contribute, especially now seeing him as a father to our son. I know my husband is pure of heart, I just couldn't, or was afraid to accept it then, especially because I had chosen to be alone for so long. I didn't even know how to really share my own life, let alone share my child's life. So everybody was at risk in my brain. Everybody was at risk, and I had to tread carefully with this new man in our lives. So I think, I mean, of course, we all, in hindsight, we all look back and say, well, I would have done this and I would have done that differently. All I can hope is that they begin to build their relationship. And it's changed. They have a better relationship. They have a mutual respect for one another. My son knows that, yeah, at the time, he probably would have never had the opportunity to discipline him, but he never once disrespected my husband in a way that could have ever put us all at risk. It's something big happening. So I think it's important to involve the step parent, I guess, or the other party if it's going to be something that's going to build. I don't think anybody should have any say so when it's just the beginning of a relationship, or this is when it's serious, when you know that you're planning on building a future with someone. And if you're going to do it, you have to give it 100%. I gave a quarter, and I would do a do-over. I think I was 4 years old when my father got remarried. I don't have much of a relationship with my biological father. When he and my mother divorced, we all divorced. He was a very selfish man and went about his business and his happiness. And it was always dependent on us to reach out to him to keep that relationship alive. He had 3 other children in his new marriage. And this woman, my stepmonster, I call her stepmonster because she was not a very nice mom. We immediately into the relationship, we addressed her respectfully as Ma. She wasn't our mother, but she was Ma. And she never quite received us the way that we were willing to accept her, especially under the conditions that it all started, but we won't get into that. She made very clear that we were not her children. We could be out in public and with our siblings, and people would walk up to her and say, oh, are these your children? She's like, oh no, these right here, these are mine. These are my stepkids, with just that same expression. She made very clear to always put that line between me and my siblings. However, my older sister and I were always open. We love them. Those are our sisters and our brother. Nothing was ever treated differently between us. She tried to make it that way. And every chance she got, she was nasty to me or my sister. She was always trying to get my older sister in some kind of trouble or rift with my father. So it was always them going at it. Or I remember once, I never ate beans growing up, especially kidney beans. So she made chili, and everybody got around the table. We ate. She made my plate, and she made sure. I swear to you, in my head, she made sure I had extra beans that night. And so I sat on of course, my father was doing him, because he had that kind of wife that he could just do him, disappear for hours, go bowling, go drinking, and she was here taking care of the house, the kids. And I said to her, Ma, I don't eat beans. She said, oh, you're going to eat beans tonight. I said, no, really, I don't eat beans. And I had a smart, I was kind of like a little smart mouth, but I was 5 or 4. And she said, well, you're not getting off the table till you eat those beans. And when I tell you, I did not get off that table. I sat there for about 6.5 hours until my father came home. And he was asking her, why is she still at the table? She said, because she didn't eat her beans. That was the only one time I think he ever stood up for me, because he couldn't even believe that I was still at the table 6 hours later, because I wouldn't eat a bean. But during this time, she had tried to force feed me, jamming a metal spoon into my teeth. And me, the whole time, I was saying, ooh, my mom is going to hurt you. And that's really what she was going, can I swear? Okay, well, I'll swear next time when I see the enthusiasm of her.
Killing me. You just ruined that whole
Sorry,
segment.
you have to cut it. I'll pick it up from there. Somebody's texting.
Who cares? They can wait.
So I can pick up where I left off. So she was jamming this spoon into my mouth. And it was taking everything in my sister, because my sister wanted to put hands on her. And I think I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She was about 11 years old. And so, of course, she came to the aid once Dad came through the house. She was like, she's been force feeding her and she's kept her on the table. I'm telling my mom. And that was kind of funny because my mom didn't play games. And she was trying to be a good ex-wife and a good mother to us, ensuring that we still had the same time with our father, because it was the healthy and right thing to do. But he was very toxic. He was very toxic for us. A lot of mind games that a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, even a 17, 21-year-old shouldn't have to deal with. He was really good at mind games and twisting things around to work in his favor. And so, of course, immediately we went and called Mom, told Mom flew us home. It was always just that kind of summer because she ensured, I think she did it on purpose so the summers would end quicker. She wouldn't have to deal with us. Another time, she kept me in the house. It was always me easier because my older sister had more of a voice and she didn't. I was younger, so I was a little more obedient and I kind of did what she did. She let my two younger siblings go outside, and we lived like in a circle cul-de-sac where all the kids would be outside playing kickball. And I kept watching from the window because I was crying. I was in the 4th grade. I wanted to go out so bad and play. And she was flying stuff around our room, and it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of us in one room. And she made sure she threw my siblings' things everywhere. And she was like, boo-boo, don't leave this house until you clean this room. I had a lot of bad thoughts in my little young head at that moment, but I wasn't cleaning it. I saw what she did. I sat on the floor. I played for a little while. Then I sat on the bed. I watched my friends play for a while. And I refused to clean it. So, of course, again, she kept me in the house all day. And my sister came home from paddling canoe. And she was like, what is going on? And I was crying. She said, go outside. Because to her, she's my mother. My mother's not there. That's not my mother. Go outside and play. So her and my stepmonster get into a tiff. And right before, I think my sister's like ready to just put her face through a wall. But she didn't, because she's respectful. And that's how we're raised, to be as respectful as possible considering the situation. But my father came in and he slapped my sister across the face. No. He has, I don't think, from my culture, we grew up, you're raised to be respectful no matter what to do. For some reason, that memo went past me. I react off of emotion and everything else. And I wanted to attack him. I wanted to kill him for even laying hands on my sister for something he had no idea what his wife was doing in the background. She was doing everything possible to ensure that we were always looking like the ones that was causing chaos in her new family. She didn't want us in her new family. We didn't fit. We were a threat because we represented something from his past that she was not a part of. And no matter what she did, she could never be a part of it. Only what we allowed her to be. But the thing is, we had open arms to her in the beginning. But her own insecurities couldn't let her embrace that, because we could have been a blended family. We could have been a happy family. I mean, we came for the summers, 2 months out of the year. She had to deal with us. But it just came to a head. At one point, as I got older, I think it was in the 5th grade or something, is when I was done. I was done dealing with my father or my stepmonster. And it wasn't again until I was 17 that I speak to my father, when I left Oahu to go to the Big Island for college. And I thought I chose the Big Island because I wanted to give our relationship one more try. There were so many things that I needed healing from, and I thought maybe he would be part of the answer of mending that relationship. Because, like I said, from 4th grade to 17, he didn't even know who I was or what was happening in my life. So I thought, I was desperate to put some of the pieces back together. So I agreed to go to the Big Island. I dormed on campus, and when I got settled, I called him And he seemed very excited when I told him I was going to school up there. He seemed excited for a new start. And I told him there's one condition. I need to spend one-on-one time with you. I need to know who you are, and I need you to know who I am. Without his wife, so that he and I could begin to mend our relationship. And he agreed. And when our date finally came up, he pulled up to my dorm to pick me up. And he had an older truck. It was like a bench seat. There was no back seat. As I approached the passenger side, I saw Step Monster's head. And my heart was broken. I don't know it. Because I just wanted that time with him. I wanted him to know that I needed him. And she just smugly looked at me like, And I said, no thanks. And I turned around and I walked back to my dorm, and I never spoke to him again. And I've hated him for so many years. I feel like it was his fault that so many things bad happened to me, that he wasn't there to protect me. And I think deep down, I didn't understand why he didn't love us enough to at least still be a father to my sister and I. So, and I'm a very prideful, very hard, very angry person. So of course, in my pride and my ego, and kept me away for a lot of years. Even with the birth of my son, I had changed so much, and I had grown so much that I was open to everything and anything because of this life-changing experience of birthing my boy. But he was the only one thing that I still couldn't forgive. I'd send my son to my sisters to visit during the summers or every now and again. And I always, thanks babe, I always made it very clear to my older sister that if I found out that my biological father was visiting and around my son, that I would never let him visit her again. Because he wasn't a father to me, I wasn't gonna let him be a grandfather to my child. Or it was a privilege. Like you don't get to step in now. And I had no interest. But he did make several attempts to be around my oldest boy. But, you know, even for him, it was too late. He didn't know him. He didn't care to know him. And so that continued again through the years. I think I might have spoke to him once, and it was in passing, and it like happened so fast that the natural reaction was, you know, he said, hi, baby. And he always says, every time he runs to me, hi, baby. Like we have a relationship. And it blows my mind because we have the farthest thing from a relationship. And I don't know. I don't even know what goes on in his mind or how he even thinks he has the right to approach me that way. He doesn't even know anything about me. I don't know him. And I don't even call him dad because it doesn't even sound right coming out of my mouth at all. To me, he's a stranger on the side of the road that I wouldn't even look twice at. But as I've gotten older and I've had a life-changing experience, my second son was diagnosed with rhabdomyosarcoma, and that's a childhood type of cancer. He was diagnosed when he was 3 years old. That whole experience has changed me in so many ways. It's like I said, I carry my grudge holding to an extreme. And because I just kind of feel like if you're toxic, I cut you off, I'm done. I don't deal with any stupidity from anyone. I just don't. Family or not, I move on quickly, I recover quickly. But when this happened to my son, and I have a 21-year-old and I have a 5-year-old now, so there's a big difference. But getting pregnant with Kaimani was such a blessing. I didn't realize that I wanted any more children until him. And when I found out I was pregnant, I was so excited and so full of joy. And I thought, my God, I feel so blessed. I'm so grateful. And everything was as happy as you could imagine. And I was a wonderful mom. I am a wonderful mom. I'm a different mom than I was for my oldest. I was always a good mom, but I wasn't the best mom. I think being older and more mature allows me to be a better mom now to Kaimani as opposed to my Tyrell. But with this blessing came the biggest heartache you could ever imagine in your life. I don't think I've ever, no heartache could have prepared me for this day. When Kaimani was 3, his daddy, myself, and Kai were laying in the bed and we were playing and wrestling. And Kaimani said, "Look, Mom, I have an owie." I said, "An owie?" Because, we were so overprotective. That's Naaman's only son. I'm saying names. That's my husband's only son. That's my second born that I thought I would never, I never even thought I would have any more children. So we were very protective over him. We were always careful and inspecting him when he got home from somewhere and checking. So to miss this lump on his thigh was like crazy. And knowing that there's no way that I could have missed it, it's terrified me before I even felt it. Once I saw my husband's reaction, so when I felt it, and I never said it, but my gut said, "Oh God." I think my gut just knew. I didn't say it because I didn't want to put it out to the universe. But I remember thinking, like, this is not an owie. This is not something that's a little not on the negative side, but I tend to not want to claim the positive because I don't want to be disappointed. So when I felt his leg, I knew. And I said, "Well, let's wait though." I was trying to be positive. I said, let's wait 2 days because we always overreact. I bill it patient first because we're always paranoid. We take him and they're very familiar with us. We'll wait. Dad agreed. And we waited. And every day though, I would discreetly rub my hand over his leg. And I could swear it was feeling bigger by the day. I just didn't even want to talk about it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. But finally, it was after New Year's and my husband and I said, we got to take him to urgent care. Let's just get, something just temporary, like a temporary Band-Aid to put over to get us through this moment of figuring out what this is on our son's leg. And so we got there. She was like, "Oh, I'm not too worried. Sometimes we have a little, we have like a tendency to get like an inflamed cyst or this or that, but don't worry, we'll get a ultrasound done just to see." So we moved quickly. I'm one-track minded when it comes to my kids or something urgent. I called his pediatrician the very next morning, which was Monday, and I said, "We need to be seen right away, and I need you to schedule." This was before we even saw him. "We need to schedule a ultrasound for Kaimani's thigh." I faxed over the paperwork from urgent care. We were fortunate enough, we got the same day, we got an appointment to go take Kai. And they were unable to see what it was. It was too deep. That didn't work. So they rescheduled for 4 days later to do a MRI. And we got, like, of course, every parent is waiting by the phone, and we got the news, "Don't worry about it. It's just a hematoma. Let's not overreact. He must have hit it really hard, and don't worry." No, my gut. I said, no, it's not a hematoma. I know what a hematoma looks like, and that is not a hematoma. You need to call somebody else. I want a second and a third and a fourth opinion. No, we can't sit on this. Well, Mrs. Poole, no. Now, and I called them every day for a week. I blew up their phone lines while I was at work, on my lunch break, when I got home, until he finally reached out to another doctor at Johns Hopkins, who later contacted me because they had sent over his pictures from the MRI. And I'm not going to lie to you, but when he called me and said his name and that he was an oncologist, I didn't know what that was, but I knew that it was going to be life-changing. And it was funny because my husband and I were out on a date. It was date night, which we hardly get. But we were out, we were dancing, and we got the phone call at 11 o'clock at night. So if that alone is not enough to let you know that this is serious, then I don't know what is. So of course we headed home quickly. It kind of shut down the night. And the very next day, we were scheduled to go into Johns Hopkins Children's Oncology Ward. And mind you, I had to look up the word. And I did have a crashing moment at home, but I realized I had to gather myself for my son's sake. And because nobody else was trying to hear my intuition, nobody else wanted to acknowledge it, and I didn't want to be the negative person to say, guys, I feel something. That this is not just going to go away. So I would keep it bottled up inside. But we got there, and I can't even tell you, I was not prepared. I was not prepared. I didn't realize that I was actually walking into the treatment oncology office. And Kaimani was his bubbly, playful self running through the halls with his beautiful, long, curly hair and his happy spirit. But he was quick to look around and notice the different children walking around with tubies hanging from their shirts and IVs from their arms. And he was so inquisitive, and I could barely talk because if I had just opened my mouth just a little bit, like a scream was bound to come flying out because I was so scared and I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to be there. I didn't want my baby to be there. But fast forward through everything, it was like everything just happened so quickly. In a matter of 3 weeks, my son was diagnosed. And you always think that this happens to other people. So you're never really prepared. You're mind blown. You're angry. And I'm thinking, if there's a God, I don't understand why he would bless me with him just to threaten to take him away from me. I don't understand. And then angry because I feel like I paid so much through my life. Like, I don't understand what I did to have so many bad things continue to happen when all I've ever tried to be was a good person and a kind person and a loyal person. I don't understand. So I definitely did not fucking understand. I felt scared. I felt alone. I knew I had my husband. He was going through the same thing I was. But of course, we deal with things differently. So I felt so alone. I just wanted to run away with my baby. Like it would change it if I just ran away and hid with him. But I couldn't find him. I did not think we were going to survive this. But of course I was going to try. I was going to try because there's nothing that I won't do for my babies. And I probably would not have made it though, if not for Kaimani's spirit. His spirit alone carried this entire family through this ordeal. I don't even know how to explain his spirit. So kind, so smart, so compassionate, so positive that it's contagious. He changed me forever. I look at life every morning that I wake up. I am scared, I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrified every day of my life. If he has a bump from a mosquito bite, I can't breathe for the next 5 minutes till I figure out if it really is a mosquito bite. And I'm gonna have this fear for the rest of my life. But I don't let that paralyze me because I live every life. Every day is a new day, and I'm gonna live it to the fullest because he is life. Our tomorrows are not promised. Like we all know that. At some time or another, when something happens, we know tomorrow's not promised. But I don't think you really get the gist of that saying until you know to your life or your child's life is there. Tomorrow's not promised. But in the meantime, we are going to live every hour, every minute, every second as if it is our last, because we have to make every day count with the ones we love. And I live for his joy. Like I can't wait to wake up in the morning just to see his smile, just to hear him say, "Mama, look, Mama, I'm hungry. Mama, he's an opihi." And everything is Mama all day long, but I live for that every single day. Every day. It brings happiness that fills my chest to capacity, to where sometimes I feel like I don't know where my life would be without him. I love my children. I feel like I was not the greatest at a lot of things. And there's, I'll never be someone that you'll talk about 50 years from now because I didn't do anything monumental but I know that I was a good mom. I know I lived to be a mom. And that to me was the greatest accomplishment that I can walk away from this life with. I didn't need a degree. I didn't need to be acknowledged for some kind of good deed. I didn't need to be an executive at the highest level to feel like I was here for a reason. I was here to be their moms. I love both my boys. And I want the very best for them always. And I'm so proud of them for their accomplishments in their young lives. They make every struggle, anything that I have to go through worth it. And I'm also very sorry to my mom, now that I am a mom. And I know the struggles and the fears that come along with being a parent. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry for being so inconsiderate, so hard, and so nasty at times. Because I didn't know what it was like to be a parent. And as much joy and as much love that it brings, my God, the heartache and the fear